Hi, my name is Sierra Thompson, and this is my issue and my discipline presentation. So, I wrote about the issue of the minority struggle in Hollywood. Now, for me, in my view, the minority struggle in Hollywood is the struggle that minorities have in getting proper representation in Hollywood films, Hollywood, television shows, just representation in the mainstream. And even in 2017 today, there's improper representation for how society actually looks. Now, Hollywood has always been this way. There has always been struggles for representation, and we can look back through the history of Hollywood films. And what we find, though, is that there were periods in time where minorities were making great strides in curing this issue. For example, in the 1950s, the 1960s specifically. This here is a picture of the movie A Raisin in the Sun. And during this time, despite all these movies being made, they were kind of like false pictures of hope. Like these things were being made, and it was like, oh, so minorities are getting better and better. But one of my sources, Dawson, said that the industry resisted outside pressure from African American organizations and helped perpetrate discriminatory practices through their hiring. Now, this means that just because movies like Raisin in the Sun were being made during that time doesn't mean that actual executives and people behind the scenes were trying to help with racism. That doesn't mean that they were actually trying to make any effort for progression. Whitewashing. Now, this is a more current issue. This is Scarlett Johansson right here, and here is the character she was portraying, who is of Asian descent. Scarlett Johansson is a white woman. This is just an example of how this issue gets perpetrated by actors. Like, if Scarlett Johansson hadn't taken this role, then that role she could have encouraged it to go to someone of color who could have rightly represented that character. Now, despite all of this, and as big of an issue as it seems, it's actually an issue that we can solve and individuals can help to solve. So how can you solve this issue? Encouraging minorities to get into the film industry. This means encouraging young directors of color. This means encouraging young writers, young actors of color. Not only that, but accepting them into the industry. And this goes into my second point. It goes into supporting those minorities. Go out and see minority-made films. Go out and watch movies where the leads are minorities and show that there are audiences for people who aren't just white. And then the third one is to hold executives and actors accountable when they whitewash or fail to underrepresent minorities. So this is when, for example, Scarlett Johansson, when this happened, the internet went crazy. And so we have this power as people now to say, hey, what you're doing is wrong, and we're going to bring attention to it, and we're not going to support your project because of that. And so that's the big thing you can do. So that's the issue in my industry. I am an electronic media major with a focus in broadcasting, so hopefully one day I will be some kind of producer who will be out there and bringing minorities into the film industry. Thank you.